You did it. You finally escaped. The alarm clock that owned your mornings. The commute that stole your hours. The manager who decided what your time was worth. The performance reviews. The office politics. The Sunday night dread that crept in every single week like clockwork. You got out, and here is the part nobody prepares you for. Nobody noticed. Your coworkers kept showing up Monday morning. Your old boss hired someone else within 3 weeks. The meetings you dreaded continued without you. The company did not miss a single beat. The world did not stop to acknowledge what you did. No celebration. No parade. No moment where someone looked at you and said, "You figured it out." Think about that for a second. You spent years, maybe decades, inside a system that was designed to keep you running. And the moment you stepped out of it, that same system just kept running without you, like you were never there. But here is what nobody tells you about escaping the rat race. The hardest part is not getting out. The hardest part is what happens after. The silence. The invisibility. The moment you realize that real freedom does not look anything like what you imagined. And by the end of this video, you will never look at financial freedom the same way again. Stay with me, because this is where it gets dark. The rat race is not an accident. It was not created by mistake or by some invisible force of nature. It was engineered, deliberately, systematically, by people who understood one fundamental truth about human psychology, that a person who is busy, tired, and financially anxious will never have the time or energy to question the system, keeping them that way. Think about how it works. You graduate school with debt. That debt requires income. Income requires a job. The job pays just enough to cover your expenses if you are disciplined, but the expenses keep rising with every raise you get. Your lifestyle inflates. Your needs multiply. And before you know it, you are not working to live. You are working to maintain the life that working created. But here's what nobody tells you. The system has a second layer. The first layer is financial. The second layer is social. And the social layer is actually the more powerful trap. Because it is not just money keeping people in the rat race. It is identity. It is what people think of you. It is the business card, the job title, the company name you drop at dinner parties. It is the way your parents introduce you to their friends. It is the feeling of belonging to something, a team, a company, a mission, even when that mission is ultimately making someone else wealthy. When you escape the rat race, you do not just lose the income structure. You lose the social identity that came with it, and nobody prepares you for that loss. Nobody teaches you that the prison was also the place where you felt like you belonged. This is why most people who escape quietly go back. Not because they failed financially, because the silence was louder than the suffering they left behind. But here is the cliffhanger that changes everything. The people who escape permanently, the ones who never go back, they did not just change their go back, finances. They did something else entirely. And what they did is the exact thing most escape plans completely leave out. Here is how most people think escaping the rat race works. You save enough money. You quit your job. You travel. You start a passion project. You sleep in. You post about your freedom online, and people react with fire emojis. Life becomes a permanent vacation, and money somehow keeps arriving. That is the fantasy, and it is almost completely wrong. But here's what nobody tells you, and this is the part that separates the people who achieve permanent escape from the ones who return within 18 months. Real escape is not the absence of work. Real escape is the absence of someone else controlling your time. Think about that for a second. Warren Buffett works every single day. He reads for 5 to 6 hours. He thinks. He makes decisions. He does not sit on a beach doing nothing. But here is the critical difference. No one tells Warren Buffett when to show up, when to leave, or what his time is worth. He controls every hour. That is the escape, not the absence of effort, the ownership of your time. This is the framework most financial freedom content completely misses, and it costs people years of confusion after they escape. The difference between the rat race worker and the free person is not how much they work. It is who decides the terms. Now here is the financial mechanism behind real escape, and the numbers are specific. Most financial advisors talk about retirement. Save 25 times your annual expenses and withdraw 4% per year. That is the 4% rule. It means if you spend $40,000 per year, You need $1 million invested to be financially free indefinitely. But there is a second path that almost nobody talks about, and it is the one that actually works. For people escaping before 65, cash flowing assets, specifically rental income, dividend income, digital product income, or business income that generates money whether you work that day or not. When your monthly cash flow from assets exceeds your monthly expenses, you have escaped. It does not matter if your net worth is $1 million. It does not matter what your job title was. The math has flipped, and the race is over. And here is the callback to what I said at the very start. When you escape this way, nobody notices, because you still look ordinary. You still live in a regular house, drive a regular car, shop at regular stores. The escape is invisible, and that invisibility is exactly the point. Meet Daniel, 41 years old, former project manager at a mid-sized tech company in Denver, Colorado. Salary was $94,000 per year. Good benefits, stock options, respected by his team. His LinkedIn profile looked like success. He quit on a Wednesday afternoon 18 months ago. He did not post about it. He did not make an announcement. He sent a professional resignation letter, cleared his desk over 2 days, and left. His coworkers threw him a small going-away lunch. His manager posted a generic farewell on the company Slack. By the following Monday, his accounts were reassigned, and the meetings continued without him. Nobody from his old job has called since. But here is what Daniel had built quietly over the previous 6 years while working full-time. 3 single-family rental properties generating combined net income of $4,200 per month, a dividend portfolio producing $800 per month, 1 digital course on project management fundamentals bringing in an average of $1,200 monthly, total monthly passive income, $6,200, his monthly personal expenses, $4,800. Think about that for a second. His cash flow exceeded his expenses by $1,400 every single month. The math had already flipped. 14 months before he actually quit. He stayed an extra 14 months to build a larger financial cushion and to be absolutely certain the income was consistent across different market conditions. But here's what nobody tells you. Daniel is not a genius. He did not have a trust fund. He did not get lucky with crypto. He made one decision at age 35 to redirect every dollar that was going toward lifestyle performance into income-producing assets instead. That one decision, compounded over 6 years, produced the escape. And his neighbors have no idea. His family thinks he is doing some consulting. His old coworkers assume he found a better job somewhere else. Real freedom is invisible, and that matters to you, because it means the path is open right now, regardless of where you are starting. Daniel told me about the moment he knew it was over. It was a Tuesday, 7:42 in the morning. He was sitting at his kitchen table with coffee, watching the sun come through the window, and his phone buzzed with a calendar reminder, a recurring 9 a.m. stand-up meeting he had attended every Tuesday for 4 years. He looked at the notification, and then he dismissed it. Not with excitement, not with triumph, with complete quiet. Because he realized in that moment that the meeting would happen without him. The agenda would be reviewed without him. Someone else would give the project update. And his morning, his actual Tuesday morning, belonged entirely to him for the first time in years. He did not post about it. He did not call anyone. He sat with his coffee for another 40 minutes and then spent the morning working on something he chose, not something assigned to him. Stay with me, because this is where it gets dark. In the best possible way. That feeling, that complete ordinary Tuesday morning silence, is what financial freedom actually feels like. Not a yacht, not a beach, not a viral post about quitting your job. A Tuesday morning where nobody owns your 9 a.m. But here's the part that most people never reach, because they never build the foundation that makes the Tuesday possible. Daniel did not escape because he found a magic income source, or because he got lucky. He escaped because 6 years earlier, he sat down and ran one calculation that most people never lace. While run, and that calculation, and the 5 decisions it led to, is exactly what you are getting right. Now, write this down, because this is what they will never teach you in any financial planning course, any career counseling session, or any retirement seminar you will ever attend. This is the exact framework Daniel used, and it starts with one number. Step 1. Calculate your freedom number right now. Your freedom number is the monthly cash flow from assets you need to cover 100% of your personal expenses. Not your income, your expenses. Go through your last 3 months of bank statements. Find the real number, not the optimistic version, the honest one. For most Americans watching this, that number lands between $3,500 and $6,000 per month. That is your target. Everything else in this blueprint is aimed at hitting that number. Step 2. Identify your one primary asset vehicle and start building it this week. This is what they do not teach you. There are 4 primary vehicles that generate cash flow without requiring your daily lick: presence, rental real estate, dividend-paying index funds and individual stocks, digital products, and online courses, and systematic online businesses. You do not need all 4. Daniel used 3. But he started with 1. Pick the vehicle that matches your current capital, your skills, and your available time. Then build it exclusively for the first 12 months. 1 vehicle, maximum focus, no distractions. Step 3. Apply the redirect rule starting on your next paycheck. This is what they will never teach you. Every dollar you currently spend on lifestyle performance, the car payment that is slightly too high, the apartment in the slightly too nice neighborhood, the subscriptions you do not use, the dinners that are about appearances, redirect every one of those dollars directly into your primary asset vehicle. Daniel redirected $1,100 per month at age 35. Over 6 years at conservative returns, that redirection alone generated most of his rental property down payments. Step 4. Build your 12-month expense reserve before you escape. Do not quit until you have 12 months of expenses sitting in a liquid account completely, separate from your investment accounts. Daniel had 14 months when he quit, and he told me that even that felt uncomfortably tight. In the first few months when unexpected property expenses hit. 12 months minimum, not 6, 12. This is the cushion that keeps your investments intact during the transition period, prevents you from making desperate decisions. Step 5. Disappear deliberately. This is the step nobody includes, and it is the most important one psychologically. When you escape, resist every urge to announce it, perform it, or document it publicly. The people who post, "I quit my job" videos and share their freedom journey in real time are almost universally the ones who return to traditional employment within 2 years. Not because they failed financially, because the performance of freedom became its own new rat race. Daniel told nobody except his wife. He spent the first 6 months of his freedom simply living it, quietly, invisibly, without an audience. That silence protected the reality of what he had built. The escape is not a destination you announce. It is a Tuesday morning you experience alone. Remember the first thing I told you. You did it. You escaped, and nobody noticed. I want you to understand now why that invisibility is not a failure. It is the confirmation that you did it right, because the rat race runs on visibility, on status, on titles, on the performance of busyness. Real escape has none of those things. Real escape is a quiet Tuesday morning that belongs entirely to you. Daniel is not famous. He does not have a YouTube channel about financial freedom. He does not sell a course about escaping the rat race. He is 41 years old, living in a regular house in Denver, working on things he chooses every day, and nobody on his street knows that his calendar is permanently empty of mandatory meetings. That is the real story of escape. Quiet, invisible, completely personal. 300 million people are running the race right now. Most of them will run it until retirement. Some will run it until they cannot anymore. A small number, a very small number, will build the cash flow, calculate the freedom number, apply the redirect rule, and one Wednesday afternoon send a quiet professional resignation letter, and the following Tuesday morning, their 9 a.m. will be theirs. If this hit different, save this video. You are going to want to come back to this. The race is still running. The question is whether you are in it, or watching it from the outside, quietly, invisibly, on your own terms.